Hi. Okay, so this is episode 4 in the series, a 9-part series of basically how to heal. If you don't have therapy, you can't have therapy. And in this episode, we're going to talk about grieving the life you didn't get. I still do this, but some of our deepest wounds aren't about what happened to us. Some of our deepest wounds are about what never happened to us. And that's what we're going to be talking about here, is grieving both of those things and how to do it and why it's important. So welcome back. I'm Anna. In this 4th episode of our healing series, we're going to talk about something that's often overlooked in trauma recovery, and that's grieving the life that we didn't get. So many of us carry sadness, not just from the pain that we endured, from the love, safety, and joy that we were supposed to receive, and we never did. And this isn't about self-pity. This isn't about having a pity party and feeling sorry for ourselves. No, it's about literally, legitimately, finally giving ourselves the compassion and acknowledgement that we always deserved, needed, like a nutrient. So trauma isn't only caused to repeat. It's not only caused by what happened. It's also caused by what should have happened but didn't. Let's say the parent who never hugged you or said, "I love you," or the person in your life or the partner who never prioritized you, a support system that you needed that was never there. There's just a couple of them that are examples. You probably have a number of examples in your life. I certainly have examples in my own life. So when we skip over grieving the things that we either didn't get or that happened to us, we end up internalizing the belief that we didn't deserve those things to begin with. And that's where the real damage lies, that sort of belief that we tell ourselves, because our lives, what we strive for, what we dream for gets really, really small, and we just think that that's our lot in life. But here's the thing. Ungrieved losses never go away. They live in our bodies. They show up as tension. They show up as rage. They show up as emotional numbness. They show up as that voice in our head that says, "Don't get your hopes up. Why bother? You suck. You're too old. You're too whatever. You're not enough whatever." So to truly heal, we actually need to mourn not just the events, but the void of those things, the absences, the invisible wounds. I'm not talking about, you might be listening to this and being like, "I'm sad all the time." Being sad and actually grieving are not the same thing. Letting yourself fully feel the sorrow and the fact that you didn't get it and letting it go, that is grieving. Being sad and being stuck in sadness, not the same thing. That's being calcified and inside the hole, if you've been seeing any other part of my channel. So for me, I'll share something about my personal life, but one of the deepest losses I had to grieve was the version of my life where I stayed in theater. After my father and my brother died, I left the theater. And it was my first love. It was like my artistic soul. It ached for that path. And more personally, even more than that, I had to grieve not having my father in the way that I needed him, especially after he died, obviously. I was just grieving my father, but it was like not having him, the father that I always wanted to have. Like I was never going to get that again because the father I had in life was just not that man. And so both of those things I had to grieve. And these were, while the events themselves were dramatic, the grieving was not necessarily dramatic. It was quiet. It was thoughtful. They were slow, aching things that for years when I wasn't feeling it shaped my life. And it shaped my self-worth also for years, but grieving them themselves wasn't dramatic. It wasn't. It was messy and it was soft and it was utterly and completely necessary. Why does this matter? You're asking. So if you've ever thought, I shouldn't feel this sad, nothing that bad happened to me, but yet your life feels stuck. You don't feel like you're making the kind of inroads that you want in your life, then this is the episode for you. This is the moment for you to acknowledge that your grief is valid. It matters. You matter. Even if no one sees the loss or if it was just a singular event, it's your opportunity to say, no, this matters because it matters to me and I matter. Some other examples of things that you might have a void around and haven't grieved is that you realize that no one ever really celebrated your accomplishments. And so you feel the grief of literally just never being fully seen. Or you grieve how you never really felt emotionally safe enough to cry. Even as a child, you might have been in trouble. You might have gotten hit. I was hit as a child when I cried. So it was grieving that I never really had that. So grieving things you never got. So here's some reflection questions. What parts of your life feel like voids or blank pages, like chapters that were never quite written? What love or care did you need that never came? What are you still hoping someone else will acknowledge or apologize for? These are really big, meaningful questions that should bring up a lot of unacknowledged, unseen, unprocessed grief. So in this next section, this is how to grieve it, and then I'm going to give you some homework, okay? So the first one is acknowledge the longing that you have. What did you need that you didn't get? Say it out loud, write it down, actually acknowledge it. Number 2, let yourself feel it. Cry, journal, scream into a pillow, or sit with the sadness, go on long walks. Just let yourself feel it. 3, create a ritual, light a candle. I don't know what ritual works for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's taking a bath and with petals and just sort of like letting each thing go. Write a letter to the version of yourself that didn't get what you needed. Read it out loud to someone. Give your pain some sort of container. For actual homework, so on the heels of what I just said, write a grief letter. Write a letter to the parent or the partner or your younger self that expresses what you wish had happened. I did that with my father years after he died. And end the letter, this is what's important, offering compassion to the part of you that's still grieving, that feels sad. Number 2, here's another homework assignment. Silent morning practice. Morning as in grieving morning. Choose a time this week to sit quietly with your grief and set a timer for 10 minutes and let yourself just feel. No fixing, no analyzing, no shaming, no telling yourself that you should be over this. Just let yourself feel, just presence. Something that you may not have even had or had an opportunity to ever had before. And then number 3 is write a what I deserved list. Like things I deserved. And include things like love without conditions, or emotional safety, or joy, or protection, or freedom to be yourself. Add all the things. Maybe it was food. Maybe it was just a safe place to be, nobody touching you when you didn't want to be touched. Read this list every morning for the next week. Tell yourself, I deserved these things. Because here's the thing, grieving the life you didn't get doesn't mean you're giving up on joy. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It means you're making space for it to start to show up in your life. You can't actually feel joy if you're stuck. The pipe of your feelings is like stuck in unprocessed grief. You're clearing out the stuck places so that something new can start to flow to you. Grief is not a weakness. It's the sacred work of honoring you, your humanity, your soul, who you are as a person. So genuinely, number 4 is making room for grief, for a life that you, or things or relationships that you didn't get. If this resonates with you, I invite you to like and subscribe. It's like this whole series is like a gentle, powerful starting point for maybe women, men like you who are just ready to break the cycle. Thank you for spending time, and I will see you for the next episode.